Today is Saturday, 8/17/2024, just after 12 o'clock. It's currently 70.3 degrees over 88% outside and 75.6 degrees over 67% inside. It's definitely starting to get pretty damp in the house. The floor is getting a little sticky. A few of the doors are jamming. If it rains this afternoon, I think it will be time to shut the windows and turn on some dehumidifiers. It's a little difficult to get the humidity out of the air this time of year because it's too cold to run air conditioner, because it will satisfy in terms of temperature long before it is run long enough to remove the humidity. But then the dehumidifiers by themselves is not adequate because they throw off a lot of heat, and so it'll become warm in the house, so then you got to turn the air conditioner on just for maybe half an hour, then you got to shut it off, because if it runs without the compressor then the humidity just goes through the roof. But anyways, we're using the fans for now. Air conditioner season is pretty much over. I have used air conditioner I think maybe twice this month. It hasn't been that hot. It's been into the 80s as a high, and it's been dropping pretty low at night, into the 60s usually. So I don't really need it anymore. I've just been enjoying using the fans instead. Although, go figure, I put this in and only got to use it I think twice. And here in the kitchen we still have the Lakewood, I think it's a 200i. And I've been using this in here pretty consistently because it sits well on the windowsill. Most of the better ones are that thick. This one's pretty good still. It's got the full-size shaded pole, Macmillan motor, nice slow low. We've got this ceiling fan over here now, this Hampton Bay Quick Connect. This is a 2006 model. And this is one of those fans that seems to be just absolutely hated. And it's really for no reason. And I like to look at equipment objectively. Is it powerful? Is it reliable? Does it last a long time? Etc. And if you can answer all those questions properly, then why not just let it be a decent piece of equipment? This is moving plenty of air. It's much more powerful than that one is, though I would fault that on form factor more than the product itself. Usually those flush mount huggers don't move a lot of air because the blades are too close to the ceiling. This has much more clearance for the air to move around. And this is moving quite a bit of air. This is on par with plenty of fans from the 90s that would be regarded as much better quality. Pitch is pretty decent. I used to see these everywhere around here, quite often in commercial applications, and many of those are surprisingly still around. I do still see these quite a bit, and they're running very well. The blades are not sagging. I'm surprised that we're not seeing a lot of capacitor failures in these, because this was made during the capacitor plague era, because these were made in the early 2000s up until I believe the late 2000s, mid to late 2000s. Even back here I can feel the air. I can feel it all throughout the kitchen. So it's powerful, it's inexpensive, and they can handle quite a few hours. Even the bearings are still good despite having been sitting since 2006. This was a new old stock. Over here we've got a Duracraft twin window fan, freshly serviced, ready for use. And the Hawaiian Breeze, which is an SMC or Midea product. A circulating pedestal fan. I have a lot of nostalgia to these. These were just everywhere around here years ago. And for decent reason. I mean, I can even feel it pushing the air into here. These really are quite strong. In the living room, we've got the Ultra Force running on low. The switch, not the switch itself, but this knob I put on there broke off. That only worked a couple of times, so now it's stuck on low. The blade is messed up on this. Now that we have instructions for repair, I will attempt to fix it. It's not moving a whole lot of air the way it is. It's moving enough, I think, to keep the motor cool, but it's not moving as much air as it could. The motor's running pretty good though. Over here we have an SMC 16-inch circulating fan on low. And in the front we have the Lakewood, or this one I think is a JCPenney branded. It's a JCPenney 223. I think it's still a P223 even though it's JCPenney branded. And this just kind of runs on low almost continuously. This does a good job keeping the living room cool. Sometimes I bump it up to medium or high in the afternoon and early evening because it does get quite hot in here on a sunny day. In the media room we have a blurry Duracraft 9-inch box fan, window table fan I think is what it's called. This is another unit I have a lot of nostalgia to. I remember seeing these a lot in the 2000s, and I had got two of them back in 2006 or 2007. I got the black one and I got the ivory one, and I use these things quite a bit. And we also have this Honeywell fan, which I remember from elementary school. There was two of these in the music classroom. We'll switch over to a lot of these portable fans the next time that we close the windows and just use the dehumidifiers. That will probably be this afternoon if it starts to rain. Here in the bedroom we have the Holmes dual window fan in white. That was a nasty one I serviced earlier this year. It's still running great. I really wonder if these last longer because the motors are positioned in front of the blades and get better cooling. These motors and the ones in those Duracraft, I think they were called turbo fans, they both seem to last a long time despite being the cheesy C-frame shaded pole motors. And then we have this weather shield. This one and the light would both kind of just run all the time. I typically turn that off at night because it's so loud, and I'll use this one instead only. And this actually is fairly quiet. I find as they get dusty they get quieter. This one's got a lot of hours on it and is still running pretty good. And then in the computer room we have a Lasko 12-inch circulating desk VN. I put this table here when I cleaned up the room, and I think what I will do is I should be able to put a box fan on top of here as well. It just makes it a little bit easier to put something in these windows. I used to have a piece of wire that I would run down and tie to the handle and kind of rig it up like that, but this should be better. And we also have a Holmes 2021 over there, and we have a Holmes pedestal fan, which was from the 6th grade classroom, I want to say. I don't remember what year it was, but I remember both this one and the black one from middle school. This is a very period correct install. Both of these would have existed around the same time. Good, there's a stinking glare. The first leaves are starting to turn. Fall is definitely right around the corner. I've been using this Maxxair 24 this afternoon while I was working on the vehicle. I don't use this thing too often, but when I do need it, it works quite well for particular use cases. You can still feel a good strong breeze all the way back here, and it's very wide. That's only on low. Pretty quiet on low. Why this is all blurry? Very powerful.